What's going on, my friends? Welcome to potentially the last talking head of Ratchet and Clank before the next game gets announced, question mark? I don't know, but a reminder to subscribe and hit the bell because I will be doing a live stream of the event, the PlayStation 5 event, looking for that fantastic Ratchet and Clank announcement that we just cannot keep in our trousers. But in today's video, I want to talk about why this next game could be a big frickin' deal. Well, you see, when I do these videos, I like to talk about things that I actually see potentially happening if Insomniac chooses to do it. For instance, we talked about having online capabilities to some extent in the next Ratchet and Clank game and why I think that could be a thing. Check that video out up there, also linked below. We talked about how the PS5's SSD could help it be a really great open world game and how they're basically already there and just putting it on a PS5 would make it happen. Check that one out right there, down there, open world Ratchet and Clank RPG, check that out. But today, I want to just like all realistic expectations just out the window. Well, not all of them. Like, right, I'm not going to talk about the next Ratchet and Clank game might be an MMO RPG with a collector's edition that comes with a full Lombax fursuit with attachable Lombax ears and tail. I mean, I would wear it proudly. Shout out to my furries out there, if there are any. But no, I just want to talk about the best possible scenario for the next Ratchet game. Just for fun, you know? Just for fun. But out of all my videos, take this one with the most amount of salt. Or the least amount of salt. I don't really understand that. Why people say it's, I don't get that. But listen, you know, there's always a chance that Insomniac's working on a new Ratchet game, Spider-Man 2, a new FPS, maybe it's Resistance, a new IP even, and or another VR game, and Ratchet, they just want to get it out first maybe, or last, so it's either just getting the speedy treatment of like another $40 quick experience, might be a Going Commando thing. Check out the Going Commando Reimagining video up there, also down there. You know, there's always a possibility it could just be... For now, let's just assume they're going all out, right? Why? Why would they go all out? These are 3 points to why I could see the next Ratchet game being a frickin' banger. Starting with the fact that Insomniac is now first party. They got big boy money. They made a bunch of money from the acquisition, and they also just recently made a ton of money from Spider-Man. So they have more employees than they've probably ever had. They just got the studio renovated. They're looking good right now. They've hired a bunch of people from Telltale when that unfortunately went under. And aside with being first party, you know, they take priority, you know, Sony, it's like Insomniac Sony's baby now, you know. They have more resources, more opportunities than they've ever had. We'll also loop back to that at the end of the video too. But moving on to the second thing, is that Insomniac, I found out, well, I've already known this, but this whole video occurred to me when I was doing research for my 17-year anniversary of the franchise video. Check that out up there, down there. But I was watching their GDC talk, and they talked about some stuff, like with Tools of Destruction. When they moved on to the PS3, they wanted to utilize that new hardware, new technology, push it to the max.
For this new platform, we needed to overhaul our engine and our tools. This meant we needed to build everything from the ground up. We couldn't reuse any of our characters, any of our sounds, any of our assets. We had to redo everything. I started to get really caught up in the allure of what the PlayStation 3 could do, and I was thinking about, oh, maybe there could be like procedural worlds, or we could have multiplayer modes. We could have this like open space exploration. And I started like chatting about this in one of the design meetings, and a team member walked up to the whiteboard and wrote in giant letters, "Technology is evil." No multiplayer or co-op. No spherical worlds, and no fun stuff like racing or other special modes.
Unfortunately, the PS3 is notorious for its cell processor being extremely difficult to develop on, so all the ideas, all the things they wanted to do just kind of didn't happen. I think the only thing that made it by a crack in time was the spherical worlds coming back. But like, even the spherical worlds, for example, we found out in Going Commando in the Insomniac Museum, they wanted to include spherical worlds on the first Ratchet game. That was their first game on PS2, moving on from the PS1 with Spyro. Ratchet and Clank was their first PS2 game. They wanted to do all a bunch of stuff that we saw in the Insomniac Museum on Going Commando, and it just didn't happen. Or it was just a bad idea. But on the PS2, they wanted to push it, and they couldn't. On the PS3, they wanted to push it, and they just couldn't. On the PS4, they kind of successfully pushed it, graphically anyways. It was one of the best looking PS4 games out there. As far as content, I mean, it was pretty varied, you know. It had most of the same things that the original had. If I remember correctly. I might be remembering that totally wrong, but whatever. It's still innovative. So now, moving on to segueing into the third topic here, they got a PS5. The PS5 is a bad bitch. I like using that Angela thing to censor myself. I already know I'm gonna edit it in. But no, the PS5, it is super powerful. It's got an SSD. That's one of the most important things. Again, you know, open world game is just, it's basically just a Ratchet and Clank game with space exploration. A Crack in Time on PS5 is an open world game with you know, the SSD and load times not being there. You know what I mean. But probably the best they got going for them with the PS5 is that it is the same architecture as the PS4, meaning that the learning curve from developing on a new console from the PS4 to the PS5, I think they even like stated like the time to learn how to develop on the new console for each generation. With the PS5, it was like a 1 month learning curve. For example, comparing it to the PS3, that was like a 6-month learning curve, which is why we didn't see a lot of the things that they wanted to do in Tools of Destruction. And they already have a Ratchet and Clank game on that architecture on the PS4, so they already kind of have a head start. And you know, they've had dev kits probably for a while. They've probably been working on this game at least since Spider-Man came out, maybe even before then at some point. I mean, they did say that at one point in Spider-Man's development, everybody was working on Spider-Man. Nobody was working on anything else. It was all Spider-Man. But that wasn't the whole development cycle. Absolutely not. No, I think it started in 2014 for Spider-Man's development. But they've had a lot of time, and you know, they got Sony backing them now. They got a PS5. They have all these opportunities. They're in the best shape they've probably ever been. Insomniac's been around for over 25 years now. They know what they're doing. They've proven themselves, and Sony trusts them. There's a lot going for them. There's a lot going for Ratchet and Clank. I'm just saying, they trust them, they got a lot going for them. Money, PS5, historical innovativeness, first party, the next game could be a freaking banger. If you would like to check out my other videos that I have done previously, talking about like a Post-Nexus game if they continue the storyline, find the Lombaxes, talking about an open world game, how that would work if it was an RPG, talking about if the game had online, and all of these things, not just talking about what if, but what if, and this is why I kind of think it could happen. So those are all linked below, check those out if you want. I'll put the playlist right there, maybe, if I can do that. I'm not sure if I can do that. Also, really quick, I wanted to add a note about that Post-Nexus video. There's something I totally forgot about. It was about the comics. Apparently, Tachyon was already known to be alive since the comic books that came out. I totally forgot about that. I did read those. I do have them. I read them 10 years ago when they came out. But yeah, Artemis Zog from the comics, who's the main villain of the comics, spoiler, gets banished to the dimension that Tachyon is on, and they're on a floating rock, so they're basically in the scenario of Nefarious and Lawrence at the end of Up Your Arsenal. But yeah, I think since they're in the same situation as Nefarious and Lawrence after Up Your Arsenal, and then, spoiler alert, they came back in A Crack in Time, there's a good chance that Tachyon and Artemis Zog could come back in the next game. Again, my only concern is they're supposedly in a different dimension, so they're not just gonna fly. They would have to get back to the right dimension somehow. Suddenly, Ratchet and Clank is all about different dimensions, and they're like dimension hopping. Like I suggested in the Post-Nexus video, just watch that. There's a lot more. I talk a lot more about it in there. And I'm also a little confused because in the comic it says they sent him to this dimension that Tachyon is in, but in Tools of Destruction, you fly through a black hole as a portal, not a dimensional portal. It's just a portal to the other side of the universe to get to a different planet. So, unless maybe it's just not shown that they fly to a different dimension and then fly out through another black hole to get back to the right dimension. I don't know, but I just wanted to add that little tidbit in there for you. But watch the Post-Nexus video for more information. I talk about it. We'll probably do something after the PS5 event, regardless. If they do announce the game there, we'll have the reaction. Again, subscribe, hit the bell. I want to share the moment with you guys if you'd like to. And it'd be cool to upload the reaction section of the trailer with all of us. It'd be a cool moment. And then we'll do like some analysis stuff, all that. It'll be great. I'm really looking forward to the content after the announcement. But yeah, I don't know. We're so close. Just sit tight. I'll see you in the live stream. Thank you all so much for your love. Thank you for your support. I love doing these. I love the support these get and how many people care about Ratchet and Clank. That is what I love to see. I love to see you here, and I'll see you in the live stream. Thank you so much for your time. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Peace. No, I said peace weird. Let's try. Peace. Yeah, I'll take that one.